Welcome back to the Michael Cohen Show on our continued journey to 250,000 subscribers. We're 8,000 short, so just make sure to subscribe, watch, and share, and we'll be there in no time. But what I really want to talk to you about, because there's so much going on, this past weekend, former President Jimmy Carter passed away. And I want to take a moment to honor his achievements and to compare his words to those of our incoming president, Donald Trump. Now, remember that Jimmy Carter, he cared about our relationships with foreign leaders, and he showed respect and cooperation to those foreign countries. Trump, on the other hand, during his first administration and what we're expecting in the second, led with America First isolationism. That's what we keep hearing. It's all about isolationism, making America great again, America First. Now, I want to first play this clip of Jimmy Carter giving his farewell address from the White House back in 1981. Play that clip.
Another major challenge, therefore, is to protect the quality of this world within which we live. The shadows that fall across the future are cast not only by the kinds of weapons we've built, but by the kind of world we will either nourish or neglect. There are real and growing dangers to our simple and our most precious possessions. The air we breathe, the water we drink, and the land which sustains us. The rapid depletion of irreplaceable minerals, the erosion of topsoil, the destruction of beauty, the blight of pollution, the demands of increasing billions of people, all combine to create problems which are easy to observe and predict, but difficult to resolve. If we do not act, the world of the year 2000 will be much less able to sustain life than it is now.
I mean, think about who's writing the speech for Jimmy Carter and who's writing speeches for Donald J. Trump. This is definitively not a Steve Miller writing. That I can assure you. Worrying about the air we breathe or the water that we drink, the topsoil, not with the comments that are coming out from individuals like Steve Miller. Now, I want to show you, and I want to talk about, for example, something that has also been in the news, in our press very recently, and that's the Panama Canal. In 1977, President Carter, he signed a treaty to give the Panama Canal back to Panama. Here's a clip of him arriving in Panama at that time. Play the clip.
Este es un momento de gran importancia histórica. Las naciones de nuestro hemisferio están inaugurando una nueva relación de mayor igualdad. Durante 75 años, Panamá y los Estados Unidos han sido amigos. Ahora seremos también asociados, dando un ejemplo al mundo de la forma en que las naciones pueden resolver sus diferencias pacíficamente.
What he was saying is after 50 years to return this to Panama and so on, in cooperation and so on. Look at the way that the Panamanians had treated President Carter. I shudder to think of how, if Donald Trump flew in as President of the United States, if he flew in, what would the reception look like? And I use Panama not because that's an ally that, is so key to America. Yes, for our transportation, sure. But it's endemic of the way that other countries are going to treat the President of the United States. And I would only want them, regardless of party affiliation, to treat the President of the United States in the same exact manner. Now, as we've talked about before, Trump wants to take back the Panama Canal. It's not a good deal anymore, that America's being ripped off. Play the clip.
World. And you take a look at the Panama Canal, it was such an incredible engineering marvel. We sold it under Jimmy Carter. We sold it to Panama for $1. The following day, they quadrupled the amount of money that ships had to pay to get across. They didn't lose one ship. And now they've made it much bigger, and now they've widened it. They've doubled it, right? They've more than doubled it. And it's one of the most profitable things. Any time it's just incredible, right? We gave it away for $1. China now controls it. They actually control the Panama Canal. They run it, they control it. And we shouldn't let that happen. And we can't let China be in Cuba. And they'll get out. If I'm president, they'll get out. Because I had a very good relationship with President Xi, but he respected this country, he respected me, and he'll get out. And we can't let them run the Panama Canal. We built the Panama Canal. Should have never been given to Panama. We should have had it. But we gave it for $1. Think of it. They quadrupled. In one day, they lifted the fees, which are, pretty big, for these massive ships to go through, right? Rather than going around the Cape and to all the tremendous storms, such beauty, it's beautiful stuff. But you didn't want to get caught in those storms. Those were storms that wiped out the biggest ships. And we go through the Panama Canal, we built it, and we gave it away for $1. Think of that. How stupid are we? We have done the stupidest things in this country.
Again, we're talking 50 years ago under Jimmy Carter. Look at the relationship that we've had with Panama. Look at the way that the Panama Canal is being operated. All of a sudden, China's now involved, and somehow Cuba got thrown in there. Again, I'm just confused, but saddened. I'm saddened thinking about the way that Trump would be viewed if and when he flies into Panama. And that's something that bothers me a lot, because the President of the United States, as far as I'm concerned, should be the most respected leader in the world. Now, I want to also talk about something else Jimmy Carter was very much involved with, and that's the Department of Education. A lot of people don't know this, but in October of 1979, President Carter signed a bill to create the Department of Education. And I want to show you a post from the Department of Education about Jimmy Carter. Here's what it says. It's from the United States Department of Education. From his first public service on the county school board, to enforcing school integration in Georgia, to establishing the United States Department of Education, President Jimmy Carter leaves a legacy of continually raising the bar in education. We celebrate his life and mourn his loss. And in it, they have a nice quote from Jimmy Carter. My first public office was as a county school board member. As a state senator and governor, I devoted much of my time to education issues. I remain convinced that education is one of the noblest enterprises a person or a society can undertake. That, my friends, is a quote from President Jimmy Carter going back to October of 1979. Just imagine that, and imagine where we're at today. Today where, for whatever the reason might be, Trump nominated Linda McMahon. Linda McMahon, I assure you, is no Jimmy Carter. I also now want to show you a clip of Trump saying that he actually wants to dismantle the Department of Education. Before we go to this clip, I want you to think about the words that came from Jimmy Carter back in 1979. That quote from President Carter being the noblest. Here's the clip. Play it.
And one other thing I'll be doing very early in the administration is closing up the Department of Education in Washington, D.C., and sending all education and education work and needs back to the states. We want them to run the education of our children because they'll do a much better job of it. You can't do worse. We spend more money per pupil by 3 times than any other nation, and yet we're absolutely at the bottom. We're one of the worst. So you can't do worse. We're going to end education coming out of Washington, D.C. We're going to close it up. all those buildings all over the place, and you have people that in many cases hate our children. We're going to send it all back to the states. Thank you very much.
I honestly, I don't even have words, for that. They hate our children. You can't do worse. It's interesting because pretty much every single country, they send their best to the United States of America for their education. And this is all part of that HB1 visa issue that's going on right now, which is why are we letting them go back to their countries when they come here, they get the education, and they're like the best of the best, or some of the best of the best? Now, I want to end this episode with two clips of President Carter. Here's one from 1977, where he speaks about human dignity. Play that clip.
Commitment to human rights must be absolute. Our laws, fair, our natural beauty, preserved. The powerful must not persecute the weak, and human dignity must be enhanced.
Yeah, again, these are not words that Donald Trump will be speaking as written by Stephen Miller, that I can assure you. Human dignity only goes to those people who support this MAGA cause. I want to show you the second one of Jimmy Carter from 2002. Play that clip.
We can choose to work together for peace. We can make these changes, and we must.
We can make these changes, and we must. These are the words that I long to hear Donald Trump say, where human dignity, where cooperation are all something that we strive to achieve together. Not divided, but together. The era has lost a good man. And as we move forward into 2025, we must never forget the past. Because if we forget the past, the future is doomed. And as always, thanks for listening. Hey, everyone. First of all, thanks for watching. We're going to be posting daily episodes with reactions and talking about politics. We'll be talking about everything, in fact. So please like and subscribe. Join us on this journey.